Hello, my name is Vladimir Tikhomirov. I'm chief economist at BCS Global Markets, and I'll try to give you my outlook for the coming week on the macro side. One, perhaps the most important point one should make here is that the coming week, and perhaps actually the coming 2 weeks, would be very difficult for global markets, for US, Europe, and Russia. This is because the world apparently is entering the peak in the coronavirus situation, which means that the health statistics are going to deteriorate further. We're going to see more cases of reported virus infections. Unfortunately, it's likely that we're going to see more deaths coming from the virus, which would be a very negative background for the markets. To add, basically, in the coming week, we're going to see a first portion of data for March being published. We're looking at PMI indices for industry and services in all major economies, including Russia. And it is very likely that these indices are going to show very significant deterioration in economic activity in major economies. Of course, April is going to be even worse than March, but even March statistics could be very disappointing to investors. In this situation, I expect to see a further risk of attitude on part of many investors that could have direct impact for Russia. We can see an increase in sales of Russian assets by foreign investors and the rise in pressure on the Russian currency, the ruble. Last week, the Central Bank of Russia was supporting the ruble by about $170 million sales in FX interventions on a daily basis. It is very likely that this week this volume of interventions is going to increase. But even so, I actually expect the ruble to trade slightly below 80 rubles to the dollar, so actually to weaken from last week's levels. If oil prices goes to 20 or perhaps lower than $20 per barrel for the Brent, then we can actually see ruble playing with the 85 rubles to the dollar mark, which is not impossible in the current situation. So basically summarizing, I should say that in the coming 2 weeks, we're going to see a very difficult period for the world, both on the health side, but on the market and economy side as well. Looking beyond that, the major question that arises is what sort of recovery, if any, we're going to see in the world. Those who believe there could be a V-shaped recovery, the number of those have come down very significantly, and my understanding is that the consensus is now looking at U-shaped recovery, which would be a more gradual recovery. But chances for a L-shaped recovery, or actually this crisis being followed by stagnation and longer recession in the world economy, are also rising. So this is not a very good background for the markets. So we're going to watch closely how the events will develop. But again, to stress, the coming week would be quite difficult, unfortunately. That's all on my side. Thank you.